All right, welcome everybody to another Bookmap Academy's coaching and mentoring session. As you guys know, we do this every Thursday. It's free and open to everybody. Just You need to come to the Discord room. Well, first, before you do any of that, what you need to do is go to bookmap.com here, click on the More button, and then go to Bookmap Academy under Community here. And then you apply. Now, I want to go through the steps in here first, just so there's some clarity for expectations on this program and what you get. Now, just bear with me, guys, for just a minute here. Just so you understand where you might be in the program. You might have been doing this for a while, and what it means, etc. So when you apply, when you click the apply button here and you apply, and then you get your spreadsheet from Dan over in our Discord chat room, then basically you're an applicant to the Bookmap Junior Academy. So you're not in the Bookmap Junior Academy at this point. You're just an applicant. And you start journaling, and we start to note it. And why we do this step in here. Why are there these steps in here is to kind of start to filter people, because there's a lot of people who have interest in this, and then they sign up and they're all gung-ho, and maybe they journalize like one or two trades, or none. That happens a lot. They sign up and then they just abandon it completely. Well, they're not in the academy yet. They've applied, but they haven't shown anything yet. So you start to show some things, and then you will be invited to the Junior Academy once you start to meet your quotas. Okay, there's a qualitative and quantitative quota to make, and it's only one journal per day, one markup per day. That's it. That's all we're asking for, and you put it into your spreadsheet. And then the quality matters though too. When we start to note that wow, this person's really documenting the trading really well, then they're invited to the Bookmap Junior Academy, and it's kind of a proving ground or testing ground at that point. Every month we'll check in and see, are you making your quota, qualitative and quantitative quota? If you do, no problem. You're invited to the Bookmap Academy, and here is where you can get Bookmap for free. And you'll need to do and meet those quotas every month again. To get Bookmap for free, if you double the quota, so we're just talking 2 journals per day, you can also get the MBO bundle. Okay, so that's Global Plus the bundle. So that's 134 plus another $100, $234 on us, and you become a better trader in the process. So that's what we're offering here. And it's kind of funny, like a lot of people, they kind of start and they show a lot of promise, and we even encourage them, but they kind of stop maybe, or maybe they get to the Bookmap Junior Academy and they just kind of stop and get kind of burned out or something. I don't know, whatever it might be. But a lot of people get kind of caught in that loop of the applicants and Bookmap Junior Academy. Once you get to the Bookmap Academy, they're pretty dedicated, and they're doing pretty well with their trading. And then if you do well here, you get to the next step, which is becoming a coach, and you'll get data for free as well as everything else. All right, and you continue on there, and you become a Bookmap Academy streamer. We have Doug and we have Tom that have made it up to that point so far, and that was a while ago. So anyway, this is the process, and just let me know if you need any clarity on that, and what you get. All right, so and then we come to these meetings, and we'll give you reviewing and coaching from the different coaches. Yeah, let me go through the disclosure, and then we'll jump right in. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. So just to follow through here, about well, this is a little different here, but on the 10th, and today's the 10th of the month, we announce our winners from the Blue Jacket competition, which you can become an Academy member and also be in the Blue Jacket. No problem. And Laura, you have won. So you were runner-up a few different times, and you've continued to come back in and show really good content, as well as document your trades. Have a checklist. You've been listening to some of the coaching advice, been doing some really nice work, and it looks like your trading has improved tremendously. So you get 3 months of Global Plus and stocks or futures data for that time as well. We'll give you 1 month of Discord Nitro and a one-on-one coaching session. So that's what you've won. And then Christoph, kind of new to the program, you're a runner-up. You get 1 month free of Global Plus. All right, so if you guys are interested in the next month of this, all you have to do is scan this with your phone, and you can enter. All right, now this is kind of in lieu. If you're going to be documenting your trades in the Academy, you might as well enter this as well. And you can put a hashtag BJC, and also just make sure that you post it into the Bookmap Blue Jacket room as well. So here's one of Laura's trades in here, and she well, there's been many in here. This one actually doesn't have the checklist, but she's been really good with her markups and trading from the Bookmap chart as well, and has improved dramatically in the last few months. And then Christoph, some really nice journaling as well, and very clean, very clear, and off to a great start here, noticing these things in here, and marking them up, marking up a range. Here's his trade right here. Here's his trade management here as he moves his stop up, gets stopped out after a really, really nice move to the upside here. And he's looking at fib levels in his bigger picture, etc. Anyway, he's got his market pulse, volume pressure imbalance in the subchart here, putting these pieces together with the order flow. Christoph, I would say that to continue on, start to mark up some of these areas, like in here. I'll show you, and I think you might get more from it if you start to look at high liquidity. So hold on a minute. Sorry about that. Okay. Sometimes this pen tool works, sometimes it doesn't. No, it just doesn't. All right, hold on. I gotta restart it. All right, let's go back here and try again. All right. Okay, so and where's my pen? Okay, there it is. All right, so here, these areas in here, like this high liquidity in here. Now you have read it really nicely. Start to look at some of these areas in here filled on the bid on the way down as well, because what you can start to put together here is starting to understand, for example, the limit buy orders. This is the passive buy orders getting filled on the way down, and then you see this back and forth in here. Okay, it actually kind of turns into a lopsided head and shoulders, or like a double bottom, and you start to note like the aggressors now starting to come in, and you noted also too, or you can note in here that this liquidity did not fill, which is kind of funny. You would think that there'd be enough selling pressure to do that. There wasn't. Buyers start to come in. Buyers start to come in. Buyers really start to come in. You're already in the trade pretty early, and you managed it nicely here, and then moved your stop up like this and got stopped out here. Here's your target up here, way up here at the big figure, or close to the big figure here. at the well, about 92 or 3 is what it looks like up here. Anyway, great trade. And just wanted to give a little bit of feedback on it as well. That's part of the blue jacket, right? So if you guys, well, this is the subscription to join the Discord as well, if you're interested in doing that. Anyway, one more thing about the process. I just wanted to kind of clarify this. We went through the different steps in the program. I also want to go through the kind of a process in here. Now, this is done by Slowdown, over a year ago. He showed his process in here very, very nicely. And this kind of is equivalent here to the Bookmap Junior Academy applicants, is marking up your charts and marking up order flow. Many different elements in here. Okay. The next level is refinement. Now, this is when you've kind of made it into maybe the blue jacket, I'm sorry, the Bookmap Junior Academy here. You're starting to look at very specific things. Your markups are a lot less, but you're starting to note the things that resonate with you in the order flow. And then when you've made it, the quality is really starting to turn here. It's good. And then here, you've gotten to a point where you know exactly what you're looking for. You're marking up very clearly and specifically some of the order flow elements that are helping you with your trading style. Look at this here. He's got his not only a checklist in here, the order flow events called out on the screen, and then he's got a diagram of what he's looking for his trading as well. Okay, so just wanted to go through that for you guys. I know you've seen that one many times, but just some clarity in the program. I hope that helps. Let's see if there's anything here in the chat no, nothing. All right. Okay, so let's jump over and let's open it up. And David, we'll start going through your coaching and your trades here.
Perfect. Sounds good. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, everyone, Dan, so to speak. So as I popped in the academy earlier on, I've got Alan, I've got Robbed, and I've got DNT. I haven't seen Robbed as yet, but apologies if you're out there, buddy, and I've missed you.
Oh, let me let's maybe go hold off on that one then. And then we'll jump in with who else did you have here? Alan.
I've got
right?
Alan.
Yeah.
Alan's around. Yeah.
Alan's in here.
Alan's
okay.
Great.
Let's go over that.
That's some very nice charting here by you, Alan. Hopefully all's well up in you're not down in Florida, are you, buddy?
No, I'm in Brooklyn at the moment.
That's good. That's good.
For the holidays.
Okay. Yeah. Life's one holiday, Alan. Love it. Love it. Have you got your musical speakers with you?
Yep. I know. I know it. It's funny, but it works.
Nothing wrong with that. No, it's good. It's good, fella. It's good. So I've got a couple of trades here, Alan. So it's nice to see you're using the new account, and I call it the broader journal and so forth. So some good scalping going on here. Good use of your spreadsheet. So thank you for doing that. I do like your write-up you've done on the DOM, which I know you're going to talk to as well. This is, I think, some lunchtime trading and so forth. Good use of the tools, the CVP, etc., and a nice 10 handle or 10 pointer scalp in it and so forth. So talk Bruce and me and everyone through, please.
Okay, so what was this? I didn't label.
Just a couple of days back.
What the hell's my entry?
Nice annotation on the chart, buddy. I like it.
Oh, here, entity. I was I saw, like, if you, the, oh, sorry, 1 second. I just, every attempt to, for the bears to go down got bought, got bought here, got bought back here, bought back here, bought back. So, usually most of the time when, this would have been the first short squeeze. That would have been better, but usually I find you have one of this, and a lot of times there'll be another one right afterwards because the sellers, the retail traders, they're I don't insult anyone, but they're not too bright. So they're like, oh, it's short. It was short there before, so I have to do it again, and then they end up getting algoed up there.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything inappropriate.
You
So,
said it already, mate. You've buried it. It's good. It's good. You've insulted us all. It's fine.
and they so I also added the blue line. This is the S&P correlation.
Yeah, that's
which
useful.
I find very, very helpful. So once I started, thinking how a retail trader, like what is I'm always say, think like one, but don't be one.
Mhm.
So I saw you can break it down here, over here, gets back up. The S&P is going also bullish. The momentum was bullish. And then I noticed I've been starting to look at more of the market profile.
Okay.
And you see right here, that's the VWAP. That's right in the middle of the value area.
It is. Yeah.
So if you go where I entered, it's almost right where the value. Because as traders, we want to get in when it's breaking away from value. We don't want to be stuck here in the middle when it's like when the consolidation is going on, or the war is. We don't know. Either the bulls are gathering contracts or the bears are gathering contracts. So here, some consolidation here, but once I saw it starting to get like here, we're already above value, and the market pulse is going on and stuff. So and I always like to see one of those whatever you call them, POC, VWAP, standard deviation, and those type
Yeah.
of
Bit of voodoo, bit of witchcraft.
whatever I don't know, whatever those lines under what category they fall under, whatever say key level, whatever. So and and from experience, I don't know. I think POC is like one of the strongest one, like a magnet sometimes. Like it'll just even more than VWAP and stuff like that. I don't think a lot of people from other traders I talk to, they don't even look at POC or give it. But from all these thousands of hours of watching it, you just look at it and you'll see it. It'll get there, it'll stop, here. Usually I front run.
Yeah, sure.
Where did I get out? Yeah.
It's nice. It's a nice setup, and it's a simple sort of pattern. You've scooted down, sort of cut across there. We scoot down at sort of 12:08, 12:09. Get that lovely sharp V spike that we often see, don't we, on NQ and so forth. Sometimes that goes with the sort of stop run. It scoots back up, and then it's easy to see with Captain Hindsight Monday morning quarterbacks. But you've got those higher lows, sort of at 12:16, and it then retests down at 12:25. As you say, you've then got at the POC, and in you go for a sharp 10 points, 12 points, or whatever. So yeah, a lower risk trade because you've got the trend on your side.
Well, also, I'm starting to think like most retail traders, or who don't use how many use Bookmap, and ones use Bookmap. How do they know how to use it? So you're seeing they don't know that retail trader doesn't know that this is not real selling. That it's a stop run of 55 and 30. They think, okay, it's a bear market. I'm in a short now. Now it's in a short, and that maybe it'll go bound have a dead cat bounce and go. No, but then I'll go squeeze them again. Then they try again because they're stubborn. Like, no, the short has to work. Short has to work, and they try it again and again, and it's not working. And then you start to see that the bulls have the least path of resistance. It's like a blue ball, like bouncing up, and we got above the value, and the market pulse was going crazy, and POC, and it ended up going higher, but with NQ, I equated it to a New York City subway train that's going really fast, or like you just hop on in the middle, ride it to a stop, and then get right off, because it could turn around. It is fast. Like you don't. I used to try and get more of the moves, but it's better to I don't know, maybe put a few more contracts and get smaller moves. Because from here, what is this, 20, 25? It's 15, 15 right there.
Yeah.
15, and even went higher, but it went higher than this, but I can't really be upset. Yeah, it's you're always gonna leave money on the table.
We all do, and a common theme on previous sort of weeks. If you can do this 2, 3, 4 times a day, just take out 10, 12, 15 points, 1 or 2 contracts, and it's there. It's enough, or enough
Yeah.
for most of us.
And then, well, not for you, but for the rest of us, for the rest, yeah. And then as you build your account more, maybe if you put like think 10 contracts and just get 10, 15 points, that's it. You're done for the
Yeah,
day.
you are. No, it's
Like
good.
why keep going? I wrote stuff down here, Bruce. I don't know a whole on the right
On the
side.
right, yeah, you're talking about the DOM, aren't you? Where you've seen some large lot traders coming in, or 50 lots going through, and
Oh, yeah. I started
yeah,
using time and sales. I know J Trader tries to do it, so
yeah,
I noticed that the numbers, I see 50, 50. So this
mm,
makes me think it's the same player. Like he's buying, then he's selling.
okay,
He's buying, then he's selling. And then here the numbers changed, and then he's buying, and maybe he wanted to keep 5. So, but my minimum size is 40. 40 for NQ. It's a thinner market. 40,
mm,
50 lots is a nice size. And
down,
and
right,
and
yeah,
here it's 50, 90, 140 contracts coming up there. When you see, I should have labeled the iceberg. Uh, yeah,
yeah.
it's actually no, it's no iceberg. There's no iceberg. It's a little bit of a downward stop run from here. And
And you're running your checklist across all of this here still, Alan? Or is it all in
yeah,
all like me? It's all in our heads. Or
it's in my head.
yeah,
I need. I don't know. I'm sure it's not hard, but maybe Bruce could show me sometime, or just how to make the setup checklist. Like I want to make one for short squeeze, mini
okay,
version, whatever, and then I can, and then and then there's each one can have different variations,
mhm,
and then I could, and have those saved instead of having to write it out each time. But
sure,
it's
sure.
it's kind of like rote, or sometimes like you just like you see this
Muscle memory.
happening. Yeah, like
Yeah,
you see this happening, and then you expect that to happen and this to happen, just from watching for I don't know thousands of hours.
it is.
Like
It's screen time.
like
Reps and sets there, Alan. Reps and
yeah,
sets.
screen time, man. But
Yeah.
this really caught my eye. It looked like
Okay.
what what
I
would you,
think
what would you say?
last time, yeah,
It's probably the
no,
same person, right? The same actor. All this.
yeah. I mean, for me, I don't know if there was a question. I'm always trying to talk about my own sort of style trading. I may have got in a little bit earlier. In fact, I may well have sort of taken a sharp trade on that V spike down at the sort of 1208, 1209. But if I contradict myself or add to what I'm saying, as you know, Alan, as others know, there's other things I'm looking at as well. So I might be looking
Yes,
at
yeah.
individual stocks or something. So I've got to feel it's going back up. We've seen a couple of those spikes down in the last frame of today. When we were last talking, Alan, you were looking at Bitcoin and you're doing some cheeky little trading on that. Is that sort of still happening during the week, during the days, or have you moved aside from having a go
Uh,
on
no,
that?
I was just I was just I haven't played with it in a while,
Okay, that's cool.
but something else I started looking at is the uh if you pull up the QQQ
Okay,
on Bookmap
okay.
and
Yeah.
and you have the NQ,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see there's a lot of like sometimes you'll see a move in the NQ and like what happened? There was the QQQ had some orders that got filled and then the brokers have to hedge it with the futures. So it's kind of like a little secret trick or whatever that I noticed. Like it's another area like important information of what will cause the futures
I'm with
to
you.
move.
With you. I don't post that often, but
I
you're
I
right.
I, I don't know how
Look
to
at the
post them
cues
next
and
to each other.
yeah, if you
Yeah.
look at the cues and the spiders, you'll often see those very deep liquidity levels. Everything else is black, and then you just get that kind of
Yeah,
color.
I've been in like trade rooms and like
Yeah,
and people like this moved here and like have no idea why this happened. And then I look at the QQQ chart. Well, I know why it happened, but I don't want to be like, oh, I know everything. I don't know everything, but I know why
sure.
that happened because there was a big huge liquidity in QQQ or something, and it had to hit it, and then it
Yeah,
had to be hedged.
it's good. Let's try and bring Bruce in and get his input, and then we've got another chart for you to have a look at, which you were swinging the bat in the hitters box on the next chart. But let's perhaps see if Bruce wants to add some expertise to this one, please, sir.
Uh, thank you, David. Over to me.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, thanks.
Uh, um, No, I think this is your trade, Alan. We've gone over it so many times. I know that you said you have your checklist in your mind, but I think you should write it out. And I'll show you tomorrow. We can go over it tomorrow in the Bookmap All Markets
Yeah, yeah,
webinar,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
show it. No problem. But
That's all I need, and then
it's
from there
easy.
I
It's
could refine
easy.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just write it down and just notepad or something. You'll get a lot more out of it. And then I would even encourage you, like after seeing, God, was it you or was it Rob Davis? I can't recall who last week. We saw like for the third or fourth time, someone that was now putting together um, their diagram of what they were looking for. I would do the same, Alan. Just try it, you know.
What do you mean?
And
What do you mean that? What do you mean diagram?
a diagram like here, let me show you. Like what slowdown does, or from the from the knowledge. I'm sorry, from the learning center. This idea here with the flag pattern, for example, this here, right? So put your trade, because it's a mean reversion trade. You're looking for something in particular. Put it together and mark it up. What are you looking for, right? And then put it on, and then start to put it in a diagram and keep that separate, and then reduce, copy and paste it, reduce it, and put it onto the chart. So try that for next time.
What
Uh,
what software do you use for
oh,
those
I
diagrams?
mean, you can
Here,
just use
here I use Snagit. I use
you can
Snagit to make
you can use Snagit to create this. Easy,
really.
very easy. Yeah, if you can use just what's in Windows Artboard or whatever it's called. You know, any of these things will do it. So you'll find something. Heck, I think there's even something in Google that's Artboard or something is free.
I tell ChatGPT to do it for me.
maybe that as
Perfect.
well. So
Pilot.
um, yeah. So
So say,
I
so
would
say,
suggest that
like,
you do those things, Alan, because like you keep gravitating toward this again and again. So get some more clarity.
well, repeat again. Like so, but aren't I mean the pictures I would put would be here, where you're saying to put.
Well, like for example, you might notice some different things in here. So like let's just put it this way. Suppose you put that together and you really start to notice like there's really big levels of high liquidity getting filled on the way down like this,
Right.
right? And maybe you mark that up in your diagram. And then you note like, okay, well, now I'm starting to see aggressive buyers starting to come in, right? So, okay, well, they didn't really break the structure yet. I'm looking for a pullback though. And now
Right.
it would be really good. I would even suggest, look at your bars. Maybe you might even want to use the delta bars instead of the additive, always, buy plus sell. And then, if you really see an imbalance here, like heavy selling, but then, really heavy buying, and then you start to see it come in and again over here, like maybe this trend line breaks or something. Maybe there's high liquidity underneath here getting filled as well. Like you really got something. Look for those buyers, look for a big green dot in here, and then you're maybe take some off up here, but you might even be able to add more in someplace here and look for this to continue.
So you're like basically the anatomy of the trade. Like
Yeah, yeah,
even though I got in here, but all this was a lead up to
yeah,
what
yeah. So
eventually.
if you maybe mark up your chart like that and come up with a diagram, that might be really helpful for you.
Or you make a diagram separately and then put
Yeah,
it on
yeah.
the
Make
chart
make it
and then
separately for sure, and then like you can
and then
reduce it
compare.
and put it on the chart, later.
I always run out
So
of real estate on my chart.
it's okay. Just make it really small then, and put it
Okay,
up.
mate.
Put it up here. All right.
Some good tips there, Bruce. Excellent.
I mean, heck, it's not me. It's like Slowdown and Robbed and
Rob
others.
has got one
Yeah,
tonight. He's got that in. Yeah, yeah. It
yeah.
does have the visualization because I'll say you can, Jack. So you can look at that chart and you see where those are. But if you start to pin it to it, then it really does help. Yeah.
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 I think I don't see like all our meetings and stuff, and not too many people use the correlation tracker, and I think it's what's the word, very overlooked
Okay.
because
Well,
that I remember I was talking to I was once in Chicago and I spoke to a pit trader, and I asked him if you could take away if you could only be left with one tool to trade with, what would it be?
Mhm.
He would say his answer was correlations by far.
okay.
uh, like it wasn't even a doubt. So like the correlation tracker doesn't get enough love, in my opinion. But look how closely it follows.
Well, then
And
add that into your checklist.
yeah, and plus, if people are quick on the gun, if you see going up, you could put maybe not a full trade, maybe like two micros on the ES, and that just you see it already happen. Like you see this another market happening on here already. So that's already.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to use casino terms. I know you don't like, but like double down. You're not really doubling down because it's going to behave. It's going to behave the same way this is going to behave.
Well,
But
yeah. I mean, like, the correlation. I also really like correlations, because I mean, really, I feel when you boil it down, for me, it works is to understand what is value, between. It's really between the different instruments. And it really starts with something like the dollar or bonds or something like that, and how much it costs to borrow money or etc. And everything else kind of weighs on that. But anyway, that's my own insight. I mean, find yours. I mean, like if you look at all the stock indexes, or if you look at something else, crude oil, or copper. Maybe
oh,
copper's starting to spike. It's like, okay, stock indexes, they should be following, etc.
there's also the inverse ones. Like
Like
treasury,
yen or
equities,
some.
treasuries, and
Yeah,
oh
exactly.
yeah, or the currencies. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I noticed today I had up the euro, and the euro was also like positively correlated to
It
the
should
equity
be.
market.
It should be. It should. Usually, if
Almost exact.
if it's risk on, you'll see money flow out of the U.S. dollar and into the euro. Um, Alan, we got to move on, and I'm sorry, guys. Like I'm I can't recall who we said we're going to go over first this month, this week. Was it Crash, DNT, Vinny, Shark, or Dune Runner? Well, I think one of you guys, I can't recall. And Crash, I looked. I don't see anything in your spreadsheet, but
Wasn't there another one you said?
I can't
Dave?
recall.
No,
Who?
David, didn't you say there was another
There
friend of
is
mine?
another one, but Bruce is rightly reminding us of last week. Yeah, we cut
Oh,
a couple of guys short, didn't
I
you? But
I know which one it is.
we
the
It was
gotta move on. And but
no, it's
you can
okay.
go. We'll send in the chat. We'll put in his Notion file,
Yeah,
and
sure.
you can
We'll do a
take a
Skype
look.
soon, Alan. You know that, buddy. We'll
Or
always
we could do it next week because I
perfect,
Yeah, yeah.
perfect. Look forward to it. Look forward to it.
All right, let's move on here. And guys, if you remember who I promised we go over next.
Your hand
Um,
up.
so else we can take a look at. Let's see, David. What else do you have? DNT, and you also have
Robbed. I've
Robbed,
seen DNT
and
in. I
DNT is in
haven't.
here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go over him. And in the meantime, let's see if anyone gets back on who was. Okay, Dan says they were first on the list. Okay, Crash is first. All right. Well,
Perfect.
all right,
Perfect.
Crash. We got DNT's already in here. If you don't
We'll be
mind.
swift. We'll do one
Yeah,
chart.
and put
That's
in
okay.
Crash.
Yeah.
Put in the input in the chat there. Which one you want us to take a look at, and we'll boot it up here. Right. Oh, and in the meantime, too, guys, this is like hot off the press. So really exciting stuff. Really, really exciting. I'm really looking forward to this. We've been waiting for a long time to be able to do this. So um, we're offering a competition, and it's on in the CME. Okay, so futures, you're going to be able to trade 3 different instruments. Well, actually, I guess 6 different instruments, but you'll be able to trade the ES, the NQ, or the Russell RTY, or you can also trade the micros of those 3 instruments. Now, this is kind of Halloween themed, but not really, kind of, not really though, but like trading scary size. So we've talked about this before. I can't wait. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to give you $1,000,000 in the sim account and go for it. We're going to see some crazy numbers. You'll be able to trade like, I don't know, whatever you can leverage with the margin of $1,000,000. It might be like 150, 170 lots, something like that, at a time. There's a lot. We're going to have a theme. That's the theme behind it, so that you can start to understand how maybe hedge funds and institutions get in and out of trades, because you're going to get slipped. You're also going to sweep the order book. If you trade the NQ with like 100, you're going to sweep the order book in your
Will.
yeah,
Well leveled.
a lot, yeah, and it's going to hurt. Like those 50 lots that you saw go through with Alan. Those in the time and sales there. I mean, those are going to be limit orders. Not many people are going to be using markets unless they have it only filled on 1 or maybe even 2 levels with market. Anyway, sign up here. I'll put the link into the chat if you're interested. You can go through the details. You can start trading it right now, actually, with Rhythmic and Bookmap data. We'll have the details later. But I can show you a little bit right now. So I've got it here. You got to use, well, you can trade off of the Trader Map Lite here, and here you can see you got to use the cross trading into a competition account here. It gives me $1,000,000, and then I was kind of testing it back and forth in here. And this is through Bookmap data, so you will need to have Bookmap data or Rhythmic. It works with either or. And the trading simulator, you will need to have that, and you can even play around with it now if you like. It's not on the leaderboard, but you can play around with it. I would suggest actually what you do is trade in demo in the 24/7 simulator, and that way you can get it in your trading journal, right? You'll see the details here in your trading journal. And make a new journal for yourself, and then trade, call it size trading or something like that, and then you'll see your 100 lots or 50 lots, 30 lots, whatever it is in here, right? So play around with it, and like one of the reasons we're going to have one of the reasons that we're doing it is to so that you get to see some numbers on the chart that you maybe haven't seen before, and it starts to give you kind of a funny feeling of like, whoa, it's kind of fictitious, but it's kind of not in essence, and it kind of prepares you for trading bigger size. You can also start to understand larger players and where they're getting in and out and the game that they're playing. You will have to probably do the same, right? There's multiple reasons for doing this, and it'll be a lot of fun too, and there's prizes. So go for it, play around and enjoy. All right. So let's see here.
Great initiative, Bruce. Great initiative. Well done, team.
All right. Back over you, David. Take it away.
Right. So we've got I think the first chart there, Bruce, if you can kindly click on that one. So this is an ORB trade, which I know is in my heart and Laura's heart and others and so forth. great charting. I love the checklist, as you can see, Bruce, in the top right-hand side. We've got the small Renko chart in the bottom right-hand side as well, giving that sort of picture-in-picture sort of view of where we are and so forth. We've got plenty of volume bars giving us some good sort of tells. We've got POC. We've got some spot camera levels on here. We're entering at the right pace. We can see the stop level being moved around. We can see the take profit moved around and so forth. And a very sensible, reliable trade. Over to you, DNT, please, sir.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Very well. Yourself? Good week?
Oh, good to hear. I'm doing all right.
Excellent.
Lack of sleep as usual with the baby.
Cool.
Got up early this morning to the balloon fiesta over in Albuquerque. Man, it's
Oh,
pretty cool.
nice.
Yeah, just post some
Have you
pictures.
posted any photos on that?
I have not. I don't usually know. I'll
Um,
find some good ones and I'll throw them up.
do so, do so, do so, do so.
I will. So, all right. I don't know what to start off with first. The checklist,
Yeah,
it's
nice.
it's curated and it took a long time to kind of come up with something that I actually am happy with
Mm-hmm.
and that I like that I can keep referring to. And it took a long time to really kind of figure out what the checklist was for. I mean, we can all kind of guess and we all have an idea, but I think like what I think in my head is when I'm looking at the checklist, I see it over or it reinforces my trade and it incorporates order flow into it. So I've had this idea of trading in absorption zones only,
Okay. Yep.
and it's really narrowed down my trading from being like, oh, I want to put a trade on here, or let's say for instance, I like the VWAP to VPOC trade or whatever it is, and I'm like, okay, well, where is this trade going to pull back to? Where do I want to buy this trade? Do I want to buy it here at the VWAP or here or here? Well, what I'm not really guessing anymore. What I'm actually looking for is I want to see I want to place that trade not at the VWAP, not at some random level, but I want to place that trade at in the absorption level.
At the
And
zone
you and
level, yeah.
Love
yeah,
it.
so
Love
like
it.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's really changed my trading. And when I'm looking to take the trade, I don't I like to see the stop pick of the zone, but we don't know if it's going to stop pick the zone. But I do like to still trade around the zone,
Mhm.
and then I refer back to the checklist to refer to order flow to see if my trade is being backed up or reinforced even more, and then it kind of helps me to get an idea of how I want to manage that trade and maybe if I want to level into that trade depending on what I see based on that order flow. So kind of like what Crash does, he takes that initial entry and I know he'll speak up soon and he was actually talking to me last week saying that I don't know if he takes the initial entry or not, but he does like to scale in once he
Nice.
sees that order flow and everything kind of reinforces trade,
We'll
and
just
I'm trying to do that as well. So,
we're
and
gonna
this was
invite him
kind
to the stage. This is what the Bookmap Academy is all about.
of,
So
Perfect.
he's right
Perfect.
here. If you have a moment and you're free, Crash, jump on in. And so anyway, continue on, DNT.
all right, and yeah, this is kind of like one of those situations where, it's kind of a bummer. I don't get to, so since I trade MES, I don't get to trade on the Trader Map Lite
Okay. Okay.
graphs because it doesn't like support, I think it's cross trading or something like that, but you can't really see the liquidity too well, but according to the checklist, this checklist was based on that second trade. And on that second trade, the first trade was more of a momentum short. But the second trade was the structural short.
It is, isn't it? Just, yeah.
Yeah, based on the checklist. And it comes back, so it impulses down, stop picks, comes back, pulls back, stop picks the zone, And this was on news though, so it was high risk. And I mean, the opening range is usually pretty high risk anyways. So it is you can see my management style on the first short. I moved my trail stop down. That was aggressive trailing since it's like the open. And unfortunately on the second short I just placed my stop. I just put my take profits, and I just walked away. But yeah, it was pretty aggressive selling into that liquidity there. But I mean, I was happy with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that 10 o'clock burst up, it's fantastic. It just gets sort of like bee slapped, doesn't it? Completely at 10 o'clock, and then down you go. And you've got your spot gamma levels a little bit lower down. I think that I'll say I'm a bit confused. You're nice and busy, sort of right at the DOM. So you've got a couple of things going on. Maybe you can just educate us all, school us all on that, please.
Okay, so so I like so we'll start with the Renko chart on the bottom right.
Yeah.
This is really helpful putting anchor VWAPs on an intermediate time frame. So it helps give me an
Nice.
idea of trend breaks.
Mhm.
So I have an idea of like what where traders might be at. So these traders that, let's say, bought back at 911 low, you
Yeah.
can see those are the supporting anchor VWAPs on the
Okay.
bottom there,
Nice.
where the market was actually supported at later.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this was later in the day, and that was holding all day. And this is, I mean, it's just kind of something that I see, and it works. And I mean, I just use it. It's been really helpful in my trading and identifying intraday trend.
Yeah. No, very useful. Very useful.
What
And the spot. Go
question?
ahead.
I'm sorry. What questions did you have for Crash? Since we got him here.
So he's really aggressive. I am semi-aggressive. I probably compared to him. So I don't know how he scales in, but I like to. And it's always difficult, and everyone's always going to trade differently. But taking because I have this structural like trade now. Now that I have an idea of the structural trade that I like, and at the level I like and what I'm looking for. So sometimes I'll take the trade, and I'll try to scale, and then if the trade kind of works itself out and I like it, or let's say it gets like an impulse in my direction and then it pulls back to the location that I had interest in, I'll scale in again. But I know like a lot of the people who we talk to in Bookmap don't. Yeah, I know, like, we want order flow to reinforce our trade before we enter, and everybody trades differently, right? But
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
kind of how I like to trade. I'm just interested
Perfect.
to see how he likes to trade. If he takes that initial entry when he sees his structural set up, and then when it pulls back, then I know he levels in even more, especially if he has scales.
Yeah, hey, how you guys doing?
Hey,
What's up,
Crash.
man?
Very good. Good to see you, fella.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Appreciate it. So, Bruce has heard me say this, and everybody else has heard me say this. Probably that's listened to me more than once. Is I like to have that phrase. I like two things when I'm entering a trade, no matter how risky it is or what extreme it is. I want to employ learn to earn on the turn. Okay, and then the
Perfect.
second thing I want to employ is correlation,
Yeah,
confluence.
definitely.
Okay. Really big on those two things. And that ties in a little bit with our discussion at the end of the day last time when you and I got on the discussion where I was saying, hey, because you were kind of buying it into that zone, but you weren't sure that the momentum was done before you were entering. It's kind of like
Right.
what, Bruce would always ask me about, are you sure it's not going to continue to flush when I would try to buy on a market pulse VPI spike? But I do two things when I enter in a trade, for example, on a VPI spike. I have fractals. I trade off of a 10-4 Renko. Okay, that's like my order entry chart is a 10-4 Renko. And I put a Bill Williams fractal on it. And if it comes to my target line, my ATR, my magic price, my Fibo, whatever it is, and I want to get on it, if I see that price tied to a market pulse VPI, I like to do just like what you were talking about, which is I call it price discovery. So I'll leg in as soon as, like, let's just say it's going down. In this case, I guess yours is going up. If it was going up here and you're going to enter right there where it says pullbacks to pick stops, I would want to see the price come up. In this example, let's just say I had a level right there, liquidity zone, whatever it is. I want to then see my next Renko bar move down, okay, away from that price. So until I get confirmation that one of my Renko bars is going in the opposite direction from that VPI spike, so VPI spikes up, I want to see the Renko bar start to move down. Now I use a 1 minute chart and a 10-4 Renko chart, and I have fractals on both of them.
Nice.
And then once I see the fractals, let's say I'm just doing a price discovery with 2 micros when I see that situation. If you're using Bill Williams fractals on a Renko chart, you're going to get the fractal develop at the close of the second Renko bar that's moved from that particular location.
Yeah.
So that could be 3 to 5 points, depending on what kind of Renkos you're using.
Yeah.
So I'm about 3 to 5 points away from where that spike is or that price is when I then add in, because I'll do the price discovery like what you're talking about as soon as I see the price moving away, because it's usually hitting a magic line of mine that I feel very good about it reflecting off of. When I get the Bill Williams fractal, that's about 3 to 5 points further away, the fractal confirms for me a movement in the opposite direction. So then I leg in again. And then if I start to see that impulse move or a breakout, let's say it's a Wyckoff box or something, and you see it break out, then I might add again. So it kind of depends on the context of the market on how many times I will end up legging it into a trade. But I'll leg in pretty aggressively as soon as I see the confidence coming into the price action. So that's kind of how I do it. I never go really large, like just on the spike up or down of the VPI. I have confluence with other things. Again, ATRs, price targets, Fibos, whatever your magic thing is. And then I get a confirmation in that direction, and then I add big. So that's kind of the way I do it.
And do you crash trade like that from the get-go, right out the gate? Or if I say like me, I get riskier as the day goes along if I'm green?
Yeah, are you talking about when you say right off the gate, right at the open?
Just your first trade. Is your first trade, will it be as sort of alpha male your first trade, or
No.
you need a bit of greenery, you feel a bit of greenery in the account before you start, jabbing and straightening and hooking and everything else at the market?
Yep, nope, I'm with you, and I'm just like you are. I basically have the philosophy of I really like to trade an hour and a half to 2 hours before the RTH open.
Nice.
You've seen my posts. The liquidity zones in those 2 hours before market open, in my opinion, are magic. It just is going to go to the liquidity zones prior to the market open. So I like to do that. Then obviously 15, 20 minutes before the market opens, everything kind of settles down and gets digested most of the time and kind of stagnates till you get the open. Yes. I have a first 8-minute no trade zone rule. No matter what, I do not trade in the first 8 minutes of RTH. And the reason is because when everybody comes home from the previous day work, right, they all go look at their stock portfolio and they say, how did I do today? And then they put in their orders to kick in for the next morning. So when the opening bell kicks off, as you know, David, right, you're going to get 10 million buy orders, you're going to get 10 million sell orders, and it's got to go through its gyration, fluctuating with all those orders. No matter which way the market wants to go, you're going to have that fluctuation. So I give myself 8 minutes to let things digest. And then I don't know if you guys have heard this term. I'm sure David has, the spill. Okay, there's something called the spill, which happens after about that 8 minutes. And that is kind of a resulting move that is based on the previous day's close action. So there's follow through from the previous close in the first 15, 20, sometimes 30 minutes of the market. So then after my no trade zone for the first 8 minutes, I'm like, I have a rule called half size or none at all.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
trade
Yeah.
kind of half my size. I get my bearings. I let the rhythm start to develop, and then I start to build up the risk level after I get a feel for what's going on.
Perfect. Yeah. No, sounds very, very logical. Probably a little bit, if I not necessarily aggressive, as some will say, I'm happy to swing within those first 8 minutes, but obviously not randomly, so to speak. But it is a high risk time for sure.
Yeah, well, I
Those
mean, I
first.
think once you get to your skill level, right? I'm sure there's several people in here. I can do it too. I just try to make it so that because for the first several years I was trading, I'd lose most of my money in the first 30 minutes.
Oh, that's
Right?
easy to get.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
you have to like take the next 6 hours to play catch up. So
Yeah.
when I'm trying to teach other people, I try to teach them don't blow your lot and everything you have in the first 30 minutes
Very
because
wise.
then
Yeah.
you're working for the next 8 hours trying to play catch up. So
Yeah. Very true.
unless you're at your skill level, I don't recommend most people doing it.
And the thing I always add into that, so I appreciate the very generous compliment, but as I've talked before about that, when I am trading in those high risk times, it's typically on Ninja where I'm using those automatic trade management, as Stephen and others know in the room. So as soon as I'm a couple of points out, bang, the stop gets into there automatically. If it gets busted out, sure, I've covered my fees and I've got a pint of beer or something.
Scale quickly.
Yeah, it's not discretionary in terms of me moving around the stops, dragging around on the chart. This Ninja moves that for me.
So you're scaling quickly and holding a runner, right? Like you do 3 lots or
It really varies. So very often in ETH, and I think John's in the room as well, and I won't say he does the same. I'll start with a single and then I'll build up from there. Once the day's going along and I'm feeling a little bit more cocky about everything, I'm firing off all guns and I'll be dropping threes. I can maybe do 3 threes in pretty short sort of shrift, but that's when I'm feeling it doesn't matter if it goes against me so much. But I do stress, sort of, not trying to sound like sort of Scott, but I try not to look at my P&L. But I'll say it, Bruce. All of us traders, we sort of got a good feel of where our account is, even if we don't look at it, don't we? You know what I mean? We know whether we're doing quite well or not so well.
Yeah, there were like 3 or 4 things I think that have really changed my trading this past month, 2 months now.
Okay. Yeah.
That's one of them. Looking at ticks. And so I'm not looking at P&L anymore. I mean I am, but I'm looking at ticks.
Nice.
And that's helped I think a lot. Sizing down to MES has helped and it allows me to widen my stops a little bit more. And now I'm trading the chart, not really my P&L at this point. And absorption zones give me my entry, my targets, and my scales. And so I have an idea of my risk reward. And I'm trading 3 lots on MES. So like I get one at maybe what is it? Maybe 33% or something like that. And then another maybe at like I don't what I'm trying to say is the second scale gets me a burrito or something. I'll still have a profit even if it goes past my entry and I take a stop. That's not counting if I trail. So the third is my runner, and then if I'm trailing, then no matter what, then I'll have profit. So learning risk management or playing with MES has allowed me to play with risk management a little bit more, and using the break even add-on has helped. So I'd say maybe that's like 4 things. Not looking at the P&L in terms of price, instead looking at it in ticks, going down to MES. I mean I've been consistent and I've been profitable. Oh yeah, widening the stops as well. So and MES has allowed me to do that. So I mean anybody who's and I've always been on the fence and I've never really been profitable. But now I'm finally actually seeing the light and all these things have really helped out. And I mean
And you're
I'm
sleeping
really
less
excited
as
about it.
well.
Yeah, the baby I think it took me away.
Respect.
The babies took me away from the screens, I think.
Brilliant.
So it's helpful. And so Crash was saying his confluence, he has a bunch. I think and when I'm in, I think one of my main ones, really one of my only main ones, is the confluence that I see in NQ and the liquidity, and his is the same. And I mean, when he posts something, I'm like, oh, dude, yep, I know exactly. I seen it as well. I know what you're talking about. So I look at zones and stuff similar to Shark. I think Bruce has mentioned that, and then I'm looking at correlations and stuff, and the similar things that like trailing ice and Q taking liquidity, similar to Crash. So it's pretty funny how we all kind of mesh in similar but different ways.
Well, that's surfer stuff, because I see obviously Crash's posts on that, and I try and occasionally put a sort of, as I call them, a Brian Wilson surfer. But back to those hours before the cash open crash, you see there's so much of that, or often those regular sort of surfer stuff kicking around. There's not a day goes by, and it's sometimes more meaningful, or it is more meaningful, let me say, within the extended trading hours. I know we've got the acronyms there going into the versus the regular trading hours. It can mean more, and you can see some stonking surfer icebergs that are multiples of what's on that level in the book, in the DOM. That's for sure.
Totally agree.
And when it gets to that, it's going to stop. It may not reverse, but it's going to struggle to go through it. That's for sure. Yeah. Very good.
Freaking surfers.
There's a Stratocaster. We'll be fine.
No, really good to have you in, Crash, because like you and David are super aggressive, but also really good with your trade management, and that's really helpful for I think what DNT is asking, or and then also for everybody. I mean, like, my God, if you got to have an edge, some sort of edge. You got to know that, but then it's all trade management. And anyway, yeah, good discussion.
But finding what works for you, I know that's sort of my theme. I use various sport analogies. It probably winds over no, Bruce. But it's great here in DNT. He's finding his craft. He's finding his way around, the pitch, the course, or whatever we're playing, or learning instruments or something. He's his own little niche, and he's pinching bits from Crash. He's pinching bits from Bruce. He's pinching bits from Jack, whoever, and just finding his. He's like an artist. We're all artists. It's that art, the art and science of trading, isn't it? So it's brilliant to hear.
Yeah, I think Crash is more of a killer than an artist, but
yes, yeah. Fair point. Yeah, fair point. Yeah, fair point. My bad.
It is. It's
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
It is. It's a relief, and I mean, it's definitely the most painful thing I've ever done. I have degrees. And I mean, and it's written everywhere. I mean, it doesn't matter how smart you are, what you think you are, but I mean, it's definitely the most painful thing, and you're fighting yourself is which. And if you, yeah, so I mean, anybody who's struggling, I completely, I know exactly how it feels, and I'm not going to act like I have the golden gem or anything like that, because I don't. Nobody really. I mean, I don't, but I've finally seen the light, and I just hope to keep keeping on. So thank you guys, and thanks everybody.
Well done, sir. And it's the thing I can echo. We can probably all echo that. No one is necessarily wired to be wrong X% of the time each day. We hate it. We hate being wrong. So when something goes against us, it's a cut for sure, and it always will be a cut. It never goes away. It's just you manage to control some of your anger, but that's another subject, isn't it, Bruce?
Yeah. So let's see. Let's move on, and let's see. We got a new one in here. So John 14. You've mentioned him, David, multiple times.
Yes.
So what, my Notion file was not working today, but I've got the image here. We can go full screen with it, and then invite John up to the stage if you want to speak. I think he's in here. I saw him earlier.
He was definitely around.
No, if he's in.
Oh, he may have dropped.
That's too bad. That's really too bad. Anyway, So, well, anyway, I brought this up for a number of reasons. Well, a few different reasons. First off, he's new, and welcome him to the Academy. He's clearly been listening, and he's got his checklist. He's marking up. He's trading from the chart, and I believe he's trading from the chart. Not sure about that. But and he's also with David with the options and the
He
SPX
is.
and the
Yeah,
you can see the 5700 here on the SPX. So now, and I brought this up because I had a call earlier this week with Dune Runner, and this is where I think the coaching or mentoring might be helpful. Is he didn't mark this up here. And Alan, we were kind of going over something earlier as well, or it was someone else's chart. Oh, it was Christoph's chart earlier. And we were talking about marking up liquidity.
Yep.
At DNT as well. I think if you mark up liquidity on your chart, it'd be really helpful for you. I know that you've got your checklist now, so I would say don't even focus on your checklist. It's taking you a long time. You're feeling good about it, so don't add anything new into it. Only add it new only if it is a secondary study, separate from what you're doing. So you don't want to confuse what you're doing if it's working. Anyway, this here, here's what we got. This is a nice checklist. So we can add this into it. We've got the market pulse price change maxing out here, right? Number 2. Number 1, he's got a spot gamma level here, and that's his SPX level, 5700, which is going to be different than the S&P level, E-mini level. But anyway, it's here, is touching it, but then he's also got high liquidity here too. So here he's got a lot of nice things kind of happening. This ATR, he's using the price change nicely here. It's maxing out. It's kind of like it's basically telling us this is its move. This is a big move, and it's hitting into high liquidity. It trades a little bit through it, hits his important level, and that's where he's shorting. Now, we don't know if there's still more aggressors in here. The sellers haven't really curled in here yet. Maybe it's here, maybe it's over in here someplace. But he just gets in right at his level anyway. Now he got an amazing entry, and that's what you get when you go for your level, and you don't wait for the order flow to kind of shift and change. But you also might have it go right against you, and that's the risk. We always have to take risk. But anyway, mark these things up on the chart with that liquidity. I think you'll find it helpful. Adding that into the chart is something our coaches are always looking for. You're starting to understand the other side of the trade much better. Absorption, like what you're looking at, DNT, you're looking at absorption levels. That was really nice to hear. So this is absorption, and it curls around and comes back up a little bit more, hits his bigger level, and then it trades off. Anyway, just wanted to add that in there, and invite him up to the stage, but I guess he has left. So let's see. And Rob is on vacation. He's down in like Cancun or something.
That's right. He did post, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. I guess he just missed the hurricane down there. But let's see. Was there? I don't know, David. Do you want to go through Rob, or do you want? We can jump over to. I'm not sure if it was Stan's or Moby's coaching.
Well, you and I could work through some of those if there's any other guys in the room on those. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's invite Christoph up to the stage, and I think he's still in here, and go through. Well, this is the one we showed no, this is different. This is different. We're showing, and here he is marking up the liquidity levels in here very, very nicely. This is really good. So let's see if we can get Christoph up on stage if you're interested. If you're not, I mean, no pressures. So up to you. And else we'll just continue on and wait for you or let us know. Just start talking when you're up on the stage. So let's see. Yeah, so this is what I see here, and he's got doesn't have a checklist here, or kind of one and two here, but really nice here. I really like it. Seeing this high liquidity filled here, and it doesn't quite get to this one here. And now we're looking for the aggressors. Okay, we know that the passive orders are getting filled. Okay, where are the aggressors? He also put a rectangle around them bidding up underneath here. This is great.
Nice.
Yeah, and then it's kind of like your setup is developing here. Where are you looking to get in, and where are you looking to take profit? So were you looking at a pullback in here someplace? Looks like it, and then taking some up, and then maybe some off up in here, or starting to look for higher liquidity up in here for some profit taking as well. Yeah, I don't know if you're able to jump up here, Christoph. So maybe he's away from his screen.
You know what time zone he's on, Bruce? Was this the open?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't
think it is. No, there is a pickup on volume. I suppose it could be. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be. It might be.
Yeah,
Here's 9:30 right here. So to me, it does look like it's the New York Open here. Anyway, it's a beautiful chart. Is nicely, very cleanly marked up. He knows what he's got his pattern on here, kind of this inverse head and shoulders. And then I'm really curious to hear more about the trade management, because his setup is here, and now it's more about like how are you going to manage it. I don't know, David. What do you any comments?
It's good. Great charting, great marking up, and I think it's sort of similar trade, Alan. I'm going to say it into some of the things that you were talking through earlier on, and it also captures some of the bits that Crash was on about. Perhaps sitting on your hands for the first 8 minutes or so. Price scoots up as all those different yings and yangs are getting filled. It then scoots back down. That could well have been a stop round or something else within that whole mix there, Bruce. Obviously, that's not on this chart. And then within that sort of 15-minute time, it's then back up into the opening range, settles a bit in the opening range. Another one for Laura. Appreciate she's gone to bed. And then we're just off printing that typical higher lows and so forth. And we've seen a lot of higher lows today. I know we see them every day, Bruce, but there's just those simple patterns. Yeah, they can be within head and shoulders and double bottoms and everything else. For me, I'm just looking for that sort of, grinding up mentally or visualizing a line that's going upwards or going downwards. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really like this markup here. And Crash, I was going to ask you if you had any comments. If you can come back on at the stage if you wanted to give some feedback. Anyway, the very subtle kind of markups in here, but some pretty nice stuff like his volume bars down here. Caught and showing that all of this stringed out, like buying in here is showing nicely consolidated here, and same as here. So some really nice markups here.
Yeah, and the picture is good as well, as you said.
Right.
So that's
yeah.
On the top left.
I don't know if Crash, you had any thoughts on this or.
I'm just looking at it a little bit closer here, actually. I was trying to figure out what actually made him get in down there. It looks like he said he's in at 19930. What was that lowest price there?
Right.
19930.
So somewhere around in here.
Well, it's actually higher, right? 19930.
Oh, 930 up
if I'm
here.
reading
Yeah,
it.
it's up.
Yeah. So he's not getting in at the low down there at number
It's getting in
one.
around here someplace.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's not trying to buy that spike down there into that liquidity range. So it looks to me like he's waiting for he's got a little bit of a V-shaped type recovery bounce with an impulse move up,
Little
looking
flag.
for that pullback, and you can see that where that yellow arrow is that points up to the red circle. You kind of have a little bit of a Wyckoff consolidation after that first impulse move up, and then you're breaking out right above that Wyckoff box. And it looks to me like that's kind of where he's getting in once he sees it break out above, right in there.
Yeah, I think so. It looks like it. And then immediately, well, it tests the high, some volatility. I mean, it's the NQ, but like comes up, retests the high, pulls back immediately, retests this area, and then a little bit of chop. But now well, it still chops actually, but yeah, it's actually pretty choppy all the way through. But there's just more buyers than sellers though, all the way through as well. Yeah, some selling in here, but buyers come counter right back again and take it on up. And it's a beautiful reversal pattern.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it really is. It's I mean, I wouldn't be afraid to take that trade if you see that impulse move down there, passing through those liquidity zones on the edge, right? This is one of my favorite things is looking at where is price moving in relation to the liquidity zones. And when you see it going down the side of the liquidity zones, and then you see it bounce in the middle of a liquidity zone, like what you see there,
Here?
that's a see how you got the three sets of liquidity on the left-hand side,
Yeah.
and then the fourth one where it makes the actual V-shaped recovery, you're not along the side of that liquidity zone. Now you're in the middle of that liquidity zone. And this is something I actually watch for quite a bit, is where is price in relation to it. So if it keeps skirting the side of the liquidity zones and then comes down finally to a third or fourth level, and you see it bounce in the middle on the top, that usually holds the first time it does that. So I don't know if people recognize that, but just like you see right here, it's going down 3 levels of liquidity zone down the side, and then that bottom one, it bounces right above it, but you're more in the middle of the liquidity zone, the thick part, the dark red.
Got you. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Where that one arrow is pointing down to the bottom, that fourth liquidity zone down there, price is more in the middle of the bar. Yeah, the zone, the deep red.
Oh, you mean right? It's right here in the middle between this one and this one.
Yeah, just
okay.
Look at where, see how price is going down the edge of each one of the darker red parts of the liquidity zone, and you'll see that on live if you watch it. If it's going down the side, up or down the side, don't try to get in on that liquidity zone. Wait until you see this, where the liquidity zone is stopping more in the middle of the liquidity zone. Obviously, they front run that liquidity in this example, but you can see that is in the middle. It's not on the side. Obviously, you don't want to buy it until you see it starting to bounce. But I don't know what level this is on this particular day. If he's on New York time, he's 15 minutes into the open, right?
Yeah. I think it is because I mean this is quite a bit of volume. So there's something also really, really nice in this chart. It's hard to see in here. There might be a big red dot in here, but like at least by the bars in here, to me this looks like beautiful exhaustion. I mean, here, look at how this kind of curtails down and then explodes on the buy side. So you've got liquidity filled, liquidity filled, liquidity filled. Still more supply, trades down a little bit further, exhaustion. Buyers come back in, back up above here, take it back up to, I don't know where it dropped from here or up in here. It chops for a bit in here and finally gets up here. I don't know. Some structural areas to consider.
In the chat, Bruce, I've just stuck in a chart of Tesla, not from the same day, But just when I see that market scooting down, Crash has talked rightly about confluence and so forth. One of the things that I'm doing is then the market's going down. As we all know, it's not necessarily the index itself, it's the underlying fangs and so forth. Like, look at today. Tesla was dipping down aggressively, and then it does a 180. So I'm looking across the key constituents components of whether it's ES, NQ to see what they're doing, and very often or sometimes you'll see these be a little bit ahead of the index. So it gives you confidence if you are then taking that counter trend trade to go back up to the ORB. If I know Tesla's going back up, then hey, it's covering my 6. I'm good. I'm rambling. Yeah. So it's not about the options here. It's just about the Tesla spike.
Yeah. Hey, just be careful with your analogies with we have a pilot in here, so
I know I'm going to get absolutely cream crackety, aren't I?
So yeah, anyway, yeah, good stuff, David. I know you look at the options a lot. We haven't talked too much about it, talking more about the order flow, but you, John, Doug, Jack, others use this as a confluence very, very heavily within your trading.
Yeah, and to different levels. I think between John, Jack, and me, I'm probably I'm going to say the most junior. I'm the guy that just keeps it on the side. Was Jack? He's full bore on this one, and John's between us if there is a thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother world, really.
Yeah.
It can get pretty advanced pretty quickly. But it could be, you can use some simplicity behind it for sure, as well. Let's see. Okay, well, I think we covered you pretty well, Christoph, and I think I don't know if you were away from your screen or not. All you have to do is accept the invitation to come up to the stage. Anyway, let's move on, and we covered what we wanted to cover, and let's see here. Else, Vinny, is Vinny in here? Vinny's usually driving at this time, so
okay.
So him or Dune Runner, I can't remember which one's always driving.
Okay.
All right. Let's see, and Mr. No Luck. Let's see here. Got a few charts. Okay, high liquidity here. Yeah, let's invite you up to the stage, and if there's something that you want to go through here. Not really quite sure what you're looking for here. Yeah, asking for more explanation, basically. Well, anyway, here's some explanation or something really nice on your chart. I mean, look at it. Look at this, just, heavy liquidity here. So these are where the buyers are. And no question about that. Now, like we were saying earlier, it's hard to see some of the other things in here, but with John 412, he was looking at the market pulse price change, high liquidity, and then he had an options level. But here you've got high liquidity, and you've got a nice move into this area as well. You're just waiting for those aggressors. They start to come back in and maybe trade it back up to where it dropped from to take some off. If there's enough, up to the next swing high or even higher for maybe a potential reversal. But yeah, some nice nice stuff in here, and then maybe it can. I mean, it obviously made a retest, maybe back down to here, and then maybe kind of went back up to retest this one and maybe higher. Not sure, but that's what I see. I don't know, David. Do you see anything else you want to go over?
No, I think you've covered
Crash?
You've covered it well there. Thanks.
Yeah. Maybe Crash, if you, I mean, like you see something like this, you're looking for a host of confluences.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got that huge liquidity zone, which is really juicy, right? And a lot of
Yeah.
times when you see it that thick, you're going to dip down into it, kind of like what it does, and then it's going to find its, its location that it's going to bounce. I can't quite tell what is this time frame down at the bottom down there. How many minutes is in between each line? Can you
Oh
tell?
God, I have no idea.
The only reason I ask is if he was to spread this out a little bit, it looks to me like maybe a little W is forming down there at the bottom. So I use a lot of W's and M's. M's at the top for murder,
Yeah.
W's for win at the bottom. Uh, so
Murder
sometimes,
mystery. Roblox. Yeah.
yeah.
Looks like it's
So
an
sometimes
hour.
I'll spread out the time frame in order to get a little bit of a look to see if it's a V shape, if it's a W, if it's an M, and I'll try to use the right-sided pivot rule. So sometimes if you see a W, let's just assume that this was a little bit of a W. Sometimes that right part of the W will be lower than the left side. Sometimes it'll be pretty much an even match double bottom. And sometimes you'll get what I like to see is that right-sided pivot rule W, where you're making a higher low on the right-hand side. And to me, that's just a little bit easier than this one, right? I mean, this one can fool you a little bit, but
Yeah.
look for a place where you can see that right-sided pivot rule. So you got those three really big volume dots in here. And again, I can't tell what time frame that is. So maybe you expand that out and you look for something to break above the W, where you see now that other big green dot to the right. You just were pointing to it.
This here, like above here.
Yeah,
or?
like right
Okay.
there. So, again, depending on how we would zoom in or zoom out, we would see where the middle of that W is. But your line is on the larger part of it, or you could even look at that one green dot right below it on
This
the
one
right-hand side.
or this
Yeah.
one?
No, that one right there. So if you go down from there, it's got a little green dot down at the bottom, which
Okay.
almost like kind of a right-sided pivot roll from the two really big red ones in the middle there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, I'm not completely sure because I can't zoom out and tell.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I love W's with right-sided pivot rules
Mhm.
because what you're doing is you're confirming a bottom, or you could even potentially look at this as an inverted head and shoulders. That really big left dot on the left is the left shoulder. The two really thick ones going down in the liquidity zone might be the head. And then you've got the right shoulder where we were just talking about.
Yeah, I think
So
so.
yeah.
But
So
it's
you could look
weak
at it.
buying up, isn't it? The green going back up, starting to cut in there. It's not that strong. I get
True.
the sense it could have well failed and come back
Yeah.
down. But
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'd like to see more volume too.
yeah.
Yeah, but boy, this is juicy though. That's for sure.
Mm.
Yeah. Crash, I don't know. You might want to trademark that. I love W's and put that on a bumper sticker or something. I don't know.
W for win, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Exactly.
Nice.
So yeah, good stuff. God, there's just so much to look at and slice and dice and go through in here. But it's also pretty interesting to take a look at. He's looking at these areas here on his candlestick, and then getting this. I mean, really, in my mind, this looks like X-ray vision of this. So here's where you're going to see the detail, and this is where Bookmap can help you for sure, because this is telling you something here. And there's the reaction to this is what we want to see. Once we start to see that and understand that, then that's when we can get more out of it.
Yeah.
So Mr. No Luck is on the stage. Welcome.
Excellent. Welcome.
To explain. Thank you. Had some troubles here.
Okay.
So yeah, to summarize what I wrote in chat, to explain basically how I look at the charts or trading, I trade order blocks, major liquidity, fair value gaps. And from a chart perspective on the broker end, I basically map out the synchronized order blocks for extreme pivot zones. That's why you see the multi-time frame where I basically mark the green candles. So these are stacked inside each other. To further deepen my entry there or confirm that more people are looking at these blocks, I look inside of Bookmap now to basically see an iceberg stacked inside of the order blocks. That
Nice.
gives me that extreme confirmation. It is an extreme pivot, and more people than me are looking at it, which we see then hit that extreme reversal, basically.
Nice, really interesting. So let me try to understand that.
Sure.
So here, this is all the same, just different time frames, and it's in development. And this is where you notice a lot of block trades within this candle here.
Basically, to summarize order blocks, some people call it point of interest. It is the last block where price rejected prior to a directional movement.
Got you. Okay.
So as long as these are not being retested, they are basically points of interest where price is looking to go back to once it exhausts the movement, to reload with buyers or sellers to then continue the movement. That's when an order block becomes mitigated. And this understanding of how the market moves in that way, combined with being able to see it in Bookmap where the orders are stacking inside of it, gives this beautiful play, basically, of confidence. Yeah, to summarize why I started implementing Bookmap, it actually was a few weeks ago when I was looking at Nasdaq reaching the 19,900 level, and again I saw this order block or order blocks being stacked inside from the day chart all the way down to the 5 minutes. So to put that in perspective, that is a day chart movement where you can narrow your risk all the way down to a 5-minute chart. And I failed to find an entry because there was a close below in the 15-minute order block. Then price broke above the 5 minutes, and I just failed to find my entry at that point. And I realized, had I had Bookmap, had I been able to see the orders and the order flow unfold within that area, I would probably have been able to secure an entry, even if it's not at an ideal location. It would have been within that zone that I would have been looking for an entry around it, at least.
Nice. So is this big spike down here? I mean, clearly is your analysis was spot on. I mean, it completely rejected here. So now, how does this relate? How does it relate to the Bookmap chart? I'm a little unclear. Where is this on the Bookmap?
In terms of order flow, I cannot really describe it yet on Bookmap. For me, it's really just the DOM side where you look at the heat maps that basically indicate a lot of resting orders are sitting there waiting for price to repel.
I mean, how does this time frame here, or this area here, where is it on your candlestick chart?
On the candlestick chart, I mean, it should be 5747, I think it was.
Because I'm reading 2000 here. I think these are hours in here. 1800, 1900.
Yeah, it's the same on Bookmap. So basically, where you see that dip in, that's where it correlates with each other.
So this is this here.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow, nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, fantastic.
So that's literally stacked order blocks, and basically finding that evidence in Bookmap that I'm not the only person looking at this point of interest, that there is actually institutions or a lot of retail traders looking at this level of interest, that shows that there is going to be aggression there to absorb the selling pressure.
Oh, beautiful. Really, really great. Interesting, new perspective and analysis. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome, and really thank you for hosting all these webinars. Yeah, I highly
Oh,
recommend them.
oh,
Thank you.
sure. No, a pleasure having
Okay.
you in here. David, Crash, what do you guys think?
I like the levels and flow. I really do. It's the sort of broadest point, really, Bruce, and to everyone, really. It's about knowing your setups, isn't it? It's about knowing those levels that you're looking, those zones of interest or areas of interest, whichever we wish to call them, looking them for the right signals, using Bookmap, looking at that flow, and bang, make your trade. Yeah, beautiful.
Yep.
The hunter, patience, waiting for the kill to come to you. But Crash will have a better thing when it comes into his systems and his sights, I'm sure.
Exactly. Location is key. Location defines your ratio. After location, you want to look at the targets, and
Yeah.
in between, you want to look at, okay, what are the obstacles that could prevent this from happening? Once that is established reasonable, you look at your entry or your setup prior to your entry, and yeah, go from there. Let it play out.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, I like this. I just want to put in my 2 cents worth.
Yes, sir.
I made a little comment there, but I love to see and use fair value gaps also in conjunction with liquidity zones. So if you can match a fair value gap or this order block with the liquidity zones, that's a great point of confluence. The other thing is this is very similar to the concept of a right-sided pivot rule, because you see you make a lower low on the left side. On the right side, you have a higher low. But not only do you have a higher low, you have a wick that is sweeping down into that block. And there's a difference between when you see a full candle going down into there as opposed to just a wick. When you see the wick, that's usually a little more of a sign of a sell sweep into sell stops. And I put a comment in there for him because I don't know if he knows about it yet. But if you put Market Pulse VPI, the Bookmap Market Pulse VPI tool down at the bottom of your Bookmap chart, you will also then be able to see a correlating VPI spike with that wick that's going down in that location. And that will add additional confluence for you on the Bookmap side of the house.
All right, I'll keep that in mind and look into it.
Great point.
Thank you for the advice.
Yeah, no, thank you. A pleasure. So we've seen you in here a couple times, but great to have you up on the stage.
Definitely.
Right.
Yep. Thank you. Let's move on and let's see if there's is next. We got Vinny and let's see Shark. I don't have anything from Shark. Minute. We also have some interesting charts from someone else new in here. I don't know if she is still in. No, it looks like she left.
Okay.
Liz, I think Liz MX or MZ or something like this. So I don't. Yeah, we've got a few things in there, and then we have Rob, but he's in Cancun. So
lucky last.
yeah. So let's see. Oh, I don't know. How do you guys feel, Vinny? I don't know if you have a chart in particular that I don't have you here. I don't have anything on from the coaches, but maybe we can go through something. Or I'm sorry, we do have this. What are we talking about? We go through this, or did we go through this last week? I'm not. This looks familiar. They all look familiar from you. They're all very, very
9
consistent.
October. That's yesterday.
Oh, okay. So let's ask Vinny up to the stage. If Vinny is, I think he's in here.
How did you drop off? I know a couple of boys and girls have dropped off.
Okay.
Along the way. While we're looking at that, if I can verbally answer about 0 DTE, Bruce, it's not a massive play for me. As you mentioned about whether it's Jack or or John or Doug or something. For me, it's a side mirror-ish thing. So I do look at it when we get into the last sort of 30 minutes, last hour. That's what Brent will talk about, and we're all starting to learn his new tools and so forth. But I'm not being a futures trader. Ultimately, I'm looking at my bookmap chart, my ninja charts, whilst just glancing over what's happening on Hero and so forth. But I'm not, because I'm not trading zero DTE. It's not that I'm not bothered about it, but it's less of a thing to me, perhaps compared to Jack. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about the zero DTE. I just know that it's pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, I'm not even sure like what it even looks like in terms of like the time decay. But I'll get into it pretty soon, I think. But it's just been pretty.
You and me both.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Why don't we go through something that we got here from Shark? I think that would be good since Vinny is not in here and Shark is, and Shark will invite you up to the stage and let you maybe go over this one here if you want. This is I think your latest one you put in your spreadsheet. But maybe walk us through.
Oh, am I audible, Bruce?
Hey, there you are.
Hi, fella. Evening.
Hi, guys. Thank you. Thank you for bringing me up.
Welcome.
This this particular trade was right at the open.
Nice.
So I wouldn't have met Crash's rules at the open, but I do like that stuff. I need to think about that stuff. What am I looking at here?
So this was a buy stop. It took you into the trade?
Yes. Yes, a buy stop. So this was, okay, now I remember which one this is. So this is a flatter trend line that I'm typically looking at. Sometimes I might not have even charted this, but was just watching the way price was dipping into that demand zone and popping out in between the opening range, and the way it pivoted there at the bottom of that opening range. I just plugged in an order at that level and let it sit. I'm really trying to practice not tinkering with my orders too much, working on my patience still.
Yeah.
But this once price moved up into that minor rally high, it went really fast. Like, let me see, how long was that? Yeah, that wasn't long at all, just a couple minutes. So watch the trade kind of consolidate between the opening range and it just moved fast and ran right through the trend line pivot. Is typically one of my targets, but I did not.
Oh, we're kind of losing you, Shark. You're fading in and out. It might be the connection.
Is that better?
A little bit. I think what you're talking about is your liquidity levels on the offer.
Yeah. So targeting the liquidity levels, they're near the supply zone. But I just left, I left you can see where my target. So what I've been working on, Bruce, is using the brackets. So I set my brackets like you recommended, kind of wide, right? I have them at a 2 to 3 ratio. When the order triggers, I then just grab my brackets and slide them into place.
Yeah, whatever works,
so that works
for you.
Incredibly well.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but this trade set itself up really nice. I mean, you can see buyers continually trying to push up past that level, past that 70 level, right? They try multiple times to break that level. And then once it breaks, once it breaks, that liquidity is consumed. Price just, ripped straight up right past that next level of liquidity. Tagged my sell order, and it bounced right at that supply zone. It came back in, and then it went back up and continued through.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a beauty, Shark. I mean, it's I think your order, well, I would say like right off the bat, there's something here that might be helpful for you, is to use the TraderMap Pro or TraderMap Lite chart. I think you'll get more out of it because this bot in here is really screwing with the heat map. If you use TraderMap Lite, you would see this level as being a lot better. You would see these levels as being a lot better, and clearly this would be the highest level. But that might be helpful for you, give a little more clarity in the heat map. But in terms of reading your volume within this range in here is a beauty. Look at, I mean, not only in the dots and in the range, but look at the bars.
It's just green.
It's just green. I mean, here, this is your seller. This is the most selling in this range. Maybe this one.
It does jack. It doesn't.
It's the book is, or the deck, the card deck is stacked in your favor here. Just looking for them to push through, and then man, it just does it violently. So yeah.
One thing I've been watching for, and I think this comes from watching Vinny's trades, is when I see a level like that, where like you see that buy volume, right? The dots and the bars, but price keeps getting smacked back down at that 70 level. Buyers just can't break it. But once they break it, and it kind of retests, I mean, it didn't even come back all the way down to that level, but it kind of just retests it, and it holds. I think that's a really great sign that momentum's going to continue.
Absolutely. I mean, this entry here, I know what you said, and it's good. You waited.
Nice. Yeah.
But and you might have missed it if a lot of times you can. This is a pretty dang good entry, a pretty dang good trade, because like you said, if you get this and this is your little pullback and it holds and you see more buy volume in here, it's like it's just too much. Like the dam is going to break, type of thing. And you can look for that move up into this liquidity and maybe more. At least that's what I found.
I do have a couple quick questions. Do you see the pink arrows I have tagged as exhaustion, Bruce? There's 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, I mean, they're not, well, truly exhaustion. Are you asking me if it's exhaustion or?
Yeah, I want to ask if that qualifies as buying exhaustion.
Okay. Well, let's. I mean, there's a technical answer, and then there's kind of a more I don't know, probably a better answer. Technically, exhaustion is the lack of selling. There is no more selling in this case. It would probably be like over here, where there's just no selling at all. There's no market on the sell side. And there's no aggressors. It has nothing to do with the passive orders. It's all about the aggressors. And there's no market sell orders. And in this case, though, so that's kind of technically it. But like in this case here, maybe it's not technically exhaustion, but in some of the swings in here, but there's it's kind of a reference to exhaustion. There's a lot less selling than there is aggressive buying. So that would be I think it was Donkey Face who says, yeah, I know how you define exhaustion, but he's looking at more. This is where he was kind of looking at maybe CVD as well, to tell him like clearly you're going to have some divergence here. there's going to be very little selling in here, and compared to a ton of buying. And well, you see a little bit of a spike here, but anyway, you get, I think you get my drift. And I think it's that's fine to look at it that way. If you, as long as you kind of understand like what it means for you. I hope that makes sense.
Thanks. No, it absolutely does. And one more quick question I have for David. So that 70 level, where you see all that buying in the volume profile.
Yep.
The buyers get smacked down, get smacked down, and then that level finally breaks high.
Yep.
With momentum. What places in there do you see the order flow saying add to the trade?
For me, I'm probably going to wind it back a little bit more back to where Bruce was. So it's where you've got the exhaustion in the middle, and the call it the lines going up to sort of like 50, 60 degrees. If I no, a bit further to the left, Bruce. So where you got in, when I'm seeing then volumes picking up and the pace of that bids is definitely picking up. The chart would be moving. If I'm looking at my tick chart, it's moving. That there, I think, oh, technical word. Oh shit! Right, we're going, and I'd be already knocking a few more from there.
Right in this area here, David. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, just a little bit above it. Yeah, because I can see the volumes going there. We've got the history on the left. In terms of it's just been nothing but buying.
Yeah.
You've got that liquidity at the 5780 level. We're in that first hour or so, and that your CVD is chart CVD, Shark, or is it session CVD or anything else in between?
Looks like here's your CVD.
You have the CVD and the market pulse VPI and the price change.
Yeah. Okay. So my CVD, not that it means anything or everything, I'm running that. I have two different settings. I have one that runs, let's say, UK time from midnight right through 24 hours, and then another chart that runs a CVD for the New York session or the cash hours or RTH. So it's a slightly longer lens, but it does give me a feel in terms of, okay, overall, are we buying or are we selling at the moment, so to speak. But if I was trying to answer the question again, yeah, I'd have been scaling in around about 56, 57. Yeah, no, I'm on about seconds. Yeah, it's before 55 because it's a nice zoomed in chart, isn't it? Yeah.
So I mean, David,
okay, and you're also watching how fast your tick chart is moving, right?
I do. It's that pace, and that's the thing when you get. It's like Alan was talking about earlier on, and I use some people talk about my sort of phrases now, reps and sets and all those sort of great sort of phrases. It's tick charts really do give you a great sense, politely, slightly better than Bookmap does in terms of when the price is moving. Yeah, so that's one of my key things in terms of getting in. I have got my market pulses, those that have seen my full screen. I have them on the far left, so I am looking at those to get a sense. There's sort of CVD on all of my charts. There's some sort of volume going on, some volume story on all of my charts that gives me a feel again of, is this really genuinely buying or is it genuinely selling? And today there are some really good examples where you've got that complete divergence, where big selling price is going up and vice versa. But yeah, a tick chart is, for me anyway, really good feel of that pulse. I say it's market pulse, pace of the tape, that sort of thing, Bruce, isn't it? I think all of my pulses are now set at pace of the tape, which might keep you happy, Bruce, or not. I don't know.
Pace of tape, man. I mean, like it's such a good one.
Isn't it?
Yeah, when you start to see that, like, and I know a lot of the stock traders, they look at their level 2, and they're looking at top of the book, and like they're just looking for like back and forth, and and like looking for interest, and then they're looking for it to break. So pace of tape, market pulse. Tool will do the same.
Yes.
And
I watch a 400 tick chart religiously. I mean, that's the chart that I draw most of my trend lines on for the 1, 2, 3 reversal.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just curious about that. Thank you. That's some fantastic insight. both of you guys, and that gives me some stuff to
No,
think
welcome.
about.
Always good to share. And what I do on my tick, I play around. So some days it can be at that sort of 400 level. Other days it can be at 600 level. And other days it can be right down to something crazy like 150, 175, 200, particularly where I'm flipping between cash hours and non-cash hours. So
Crash.
I'm
Specifically,
not
let's say
fixed
the
on
London
one
Open.
thing. Yeah.
The London Open, which I know you trade.
Mhm.
Are you looking at that smaller tick around there, like the 150 or the 200?
I do run it definitely if you say hotter and faster. So that's definitely a 250. And in fact, if I look at my tick chart for day, I've left it at 250 all day. That's for sure. I'll use the word although. I'm a bit of a tart when it comes to which charts I'm using. Good word there, Bruce, for me. You know, so some days the tick chart's really in favour. Other days it's my 1 minute chart with a whole load of voodoo on that, and other days there's a lot more within Bookmap. I say it depends how I feel. It's not necessarily about that. It's perhaps psychologically which one's given me a little bit more intel and that. But as some of you, I think some of the chat, I think it was with Vinny in the week in terms of I only use one chart, start again, David, one screen now. I only use one screen. I've just got one big Odyssey, Samsung Odyssey, high refresh rate. It's like 240 hertz. It's the higher end gaming monitor.
Wow.
And if you asked me X years ago or 18 months ago, yeah, I had sort of 6 20-inch 4K screens, but it was just too much. Don't need it anymore. The market is so what it is before I start going on. So yeah, I just run. Stephen's seen it. I think a few of you see my screens when I share it on the screen. Yeah, I just have the tick chart up. I have the time chart and I have Bookmap and I got my spot gamma and that's it. And yeah, there's tabs behind like we've all got or things behind so I can bring in, but it's quite straightforward. KISS. Keeping it simple.
In response to you and Stephen, Bruce, I have recently put up Trader Map Lite.
Okay.
I have it,
Great.
I have it I have it in a different tab, and I've been flipping over to it occasionally. But it sounds like people are trading from it now. So maybe tomorrow morning I'll ask some Trader Lite questions.
Okay. Yeah, great. I mean, I've been demoing it. And yeah, I think it'll give you a little more insight, maybe a lot more. Crash, we shanghaied you into this. Any insights, anything on your mind on this one?
I don't have a lot to add. The only thing that really stood out to me, I think you guys pretty much covered it. That third arrow, up arrow, third pink arrow
Here?
that has at 655. That to me has a lot of selling liquidity to it. So I don't know if I would call that, exhaustion there.
Right.
I think more over there on the lower side to the left. That to me looks like, but maybe, I don't know. It depends on how you define it, I guess. That looks like a little quick push down, maybe to grab some stops or something. It'd be interesting to see what it looked like if you added the stops to this, to see if you saw a little sweep into anything, because maybe people are raising their stops as that you're getting that impulse move up on the left-hand side. But I'm totally with David in that I like to see the market pace. So I like to see an impulse move. Yep, a lot of times. If I'm not sure, I want to see the impulse move, and then I buy the pullback after the impulse move. So it kind of depends on the situation. But this looks like a good trade to me.
It does.
You're breaking out of that 57.70 on a lot of volume.
Yeah.
With an uptrend, in those dots. So I think this looks like a good trade overall.
Big time. Yeah, great stuff.
Thanks for the insight, guys. I really appreciate it.
Any options trading as yet? Because I know you've been reading books and your dad and things, fella. You had it's a question from Jack, obviously that one.
Right. No, I've been not myself, but me and my dad get on the phone and hours will pass and we look over his charts, which are all mining companies.
Okay.
And he buys a lot of time and he just goes in with size. And he's getting really good at it.
Wow.
The apple's not fallen far from the tree then, yeah?
I hope so.
Me too. I'm sure it hasn't, buddy. Brilliant.
Guys, thanks so much. It's been a couple hours now. Let's wrap it up. Just one more push on this, and the reason I bring it up is the this competition again is like David, you were talking about the you trading. Yeah, maybe starting with one, going into two,
Yeah.
going to three, and then maybe three threes, etc. Well, now try 30. Try 50 each.
Love it.
And you should be able to. I think you should be able to trade. Also, you'll use the cross trading here. You might be able to also use the trade copier. Yeah, I'm not sure if it'll work. That's kind of new, but in the future you will be able to trade in a competition, but also trade into your live account as well. You should be able to. So
that would be good. That
Yeah.
would be very good.
yeah, exactly. We're getting there. We're getting there. I mean, some pretty nice developments from
Big time.
the team. So guys, thanks so much. David and Crash, thank you so much. Thanks everybody. I'll let you guys have the last word, and let's call it a night.
Well, thanks everyone. If I chip across you, Crash, great trading everyone, great posting, great everything, and keep safe, enjoy the weekend when it comes, and yeah, thanks for all my golf analogies, and look forward to catching up next week.
Awesome. Same here. Thanks, everybody. Hope you guys have a good Friday and a great weekend.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you.
Bruce. Thanks everyone. Cheers guys. Take care. Bye.